Hi there, everybody. Hello, hi. So, my name is Irene. If you have not been to my channel before, I would normally show you my face. Well, I shouldn't say normally because this is quite literally my first ever live on my channel. And I'm a little nervous, a little bit nervous. But you know what? We're going to get through it. And I figure the only way to get where you're going is to get started, right? So, we're going to get started here. So I'm going to try to make this not a very long live. Normally in my videos, I would edit them and they wouldn't be rambling quite so much, but I'm going to ramble just a little bit because this is my first ever live, like I mentioned. So what we're going to do today is try to demystify the spanner card. Now for Craft Roulette, if you haven't heard of Craft Roulette, please do check it out. I have the channel linked below, I believe. It's a wonderful card making game show that's live almost every Friday on the Craft Roulette YouTube channel. So this week's parameters were to make a spanner project. The colors were butterfly inspired. The element is a centerpiece, and the random parameter was dial. So I actually made my card already. And this was my spanner card that I made for Craft Roulette. So the spanner card is essentially a card that has a spanning element. So as you can see from the way I'm flipping this up here, there is a spanner in the middle here. And in this case, it's an acetate strip, and it is holding up my centerpiece here. So this is how a spanner card works. So you've got your spanning across the center type thing. Then I've got this little middle panel here, and then the area where you can write your greeting or your message. So I had some fun playing with this, and I actually had so much fun playing with it that I decided I wanted to do it again. So this is my spanner card demystified. Now I did a 5x7. My card I just showed you is a 5x7, and I went ahead and wrote out instructions, or I guess cutting sizes for an A2 as well. So if you want to take a screenshot here real quick, I will go through what each of these means. I'm still going to do a 5x7 today because that's what I already did and I kind of cut it that way. But if you wanted to do it as an A2 card, you have the measurements right here. The A7 card is a 5x7, although I believe it's actually 5 1/8 by 7, but I'm going to stick with 5x7 because it's easier for measurements. And the A2 card is a traditional greeting card. American A2 is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So these are going to be horizontal cards or landscape, and they are going to open vertically, I guess, rather than horizontally. So yeah, that's how that would work. So this is a horizontal card and it opens up. Top fold. That's what I was trying to say. Top fold, horizontal, or landscape card. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I will move these out of the way. I'll show these again just so you have them, but I will show those again later on. Now, what we're going to do here, I am using the Simon Says Stamp Love Story card kit. It's a new card kit that just came out, and it is chock full of so many pretty goodies. Lots of ephemera from Simple Stories, this beautiful pattern paper. There's several sheets of pattern paper. There's some cardstock. This I added myself. This is also from Simon Says Stamp, but it's Studio Katia brand. I like the way it looks with this pattern paper, so I think I'm probably going to use that. And then this was a sentiment I had in my stash. So I'm going to go ahead and use these different elements, and I'm going to put together another spanner card. This is going to be my centerpiece, and I don't know if you can quite see it, but this is a piece of acetate I'm going to use again for the middle. Now, the spanner strip does not have to be acetate. It can be cardstock, it can be vellum, it can be anything you want it to be, but I like it to be a little bit more sturdy, and I like the kind of a floating element where you don't have anything in the middle there. It just kind of looks like this is held across in the air. You can see the acetate on the other side, of course, but this way it just looks like it's kind of floating. So that's why I like using acetate for my spanner strip. Now this is going to be my outside sentiment. I might be cutting that up a little bit too. We'll just see how that goes. Now I'm not sure if there's anybody out in the audience at the moment. There may not be. That's totally fine because again, this is my very first live. So I am okay if it's just me chattering to myself. This is pretty much how I craft anyway, this or with audiobooks. Now, okay, so we're going to get started here with our base. I'm going to move the papers out of the way. So I'm going to use a black base because I thought it went really well with this particular pattern paper. And this is the supplemental pattern paper I'm going to use. Oh, and to that point, I should mention on my cards here where I have PP1 and PP2, that's pattern paper 1, pattern paper 2. So I like doing 2 pattern papers with this. You could do more, of course, if you choose. I just like doing 2. So that is what that means there. Now I'm going to cut these in a moment, but first I am going to score my card base. Now this was originally an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. I believe it's 110-pound cardstock that came in the 7 stamp kit. I already cut it down. It is now 10 inches long by 7 inches wide. So I'm going to grab my score buddy here. And now I'm going to score my card base so that it is I'm going to score it at 5 inches here, which is halfway because this is 10 inches long. So I'm going to score it at the 5-inch mark. Now my score buddy is a little bit shorter than actually maybe it's about right for this paper, but it is a little bit shorter and I don't want to cause any creases in my paper. So what I'm going to do is come part of the way down, just score it nicely here. And then I'm going to actually turn this around the other way. So I go this way and then I'm going to score it going in on the same line, but in the other direction. That way I've got a full score line, if you can see that there. Oop, come on, we're getting a little fuzzy. Get a little fuzzy. Come on. This is a card, not a teddy bear. There we go. Okay, we don't need fuzzy video. Oh, it goes again. Oh, come on, camera. There we go. Okay, so again, this is scored all the way down. And then I'm going to fold opposite that score. I like to set it up against the side here and then just press it down. And then I remove my score buddy and I'm going to press a little bit more just to make sure it's nice and secure. There we go. And it is a nice lengthy card. Okay, so on my instructions here, you will notice I've got score on the A7, score at 5 inches long and fold, which we just did. On the A2, it's score at 4 1/4 long and fold. And then underneath that, it says half cuts. So half cuts at 1 1/2 for the A7, half cuts at 1 1/4 for the A2. Now, what does that mean? What is a half cut? Well, the half cut is basically my definition of what you need to do in order to get your little strips. And what that means essentially is if I have this whole sheet of paper, I didn't cut these pieces all the way down. I cut them halfway. So that's why I'm referring to them as my half cuts. They're basically cutting half of a strip from my card, but not detaching it. All right, so I'm going to grab my Cricut paper trimmer here. And all I'm going to do is put my cardstock into this. Now I've got down here, I've got some measurements. So according to my little instructions here, I'm going to do my half cuts at 1 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to measure 1 1/2 inches from one side, and then I'm going to move it and do 1 1/2 inches from the other side. And I'm only going to cut halfway. Or even better, I'm going to start at this score line and cut down. So I'm going to get my cardstock moved to my 1 1/2 inch mark, which is over here. So there's 1 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to make sure that the little lines on my scoring tool here are lined up with that score mark. And if it's a little bit shy, that's okay. It's just because I don't want to cut through to the other side if I can avoid it. So I got it and I can move down. Now I can see I do have about 1/8 of an inch. I could go further up. So I'm just slowly, slightly, ever so delicately. Hey, look at that. There we go. Well done to myself. I'm very proud when I actually manage that because I'm always so worried I'm going to cut through. And you know what? If you do, it's not the end of the world. Of course, it's really not. It's not a big deal. By the time you add other things to it, it's going to weigh it down. It's going to have plenty of things covering it up. So don't stress. All right. So now I'm going to move this over and do the same thing 1 1/2 inches from the left side of my card. So here's my 1 inch mark. Here's my 1 1/2. So I'm going to go right there. And I'm going to do the same process again. There's that. Straight down. All right, and I did the same thing. I left, you can't really see it, but I left about an eighth of an inch there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut just a little bit back up there. Make sure I hit that score mark and don't go over again if I can avoid it. All right, so this time it's a little bit shy, but it's okay. We're okay with this. All right, so I think that's going to work. And if I need to cut a little bit more, I certainly can, just to be extra cautious. Just a little bit more. Oh, and look what I did. Oh no. That is why I didn't mean to do that. Oh, you know what though? Again, it's still going to be okay because we're going to cover this up. So let's just all pretend that nobody saw me do that. Instead of doing it that way, I'm just going to take my scissors and do a tiny little snip to the score line. I should have done that to begin with, but that's okay. I guess you could say I added some texture there. That's all it is. Just a little bit of texture. It'll be fine. We're going to cover it up. It's going to be a-okay. All right. So I think I can set this aside for now. This is our card base. And I'm going to move on to our pattern paper. Now on the A7 side here, we need pattern paper 1, 4 pieces at 4 3/4 by 1 1/4. So I'm going to take this pattern paper because this is what I want to be my side panels. This is going to be these 2 strips here, and it's going to be these 2 strips on the inside here. So that's going to be this pattern paper. This back side of it's very cool pattern paper. I like it a lot, and it goes with the kit beautifully. So I am going to cut, let's see, what is it again? 4 pieces, 4 3/4 by 1 1/4. Okay, so I think I'm going to pop out my little arm here to make sure that I've got this measured correctly. So 4 3/4. All right, so there's our 4-inch. Oh, except, one thing I need to mention, this is what we would call directional paper, meaning that it actually matters what direction I cut this in. Because if I cut it this way, and then I turn it this way when I paste it to my card base, it's going to be sideways. Now, if you're going for that, that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. This, however, for example, is just a solid pattern, and it doesn't matter which way you turn it, it's going to look the same either way. This, however, does not. Same thing with this. There are letters on this side, so depending on how you turn it, it's going to either read right side up or sideways, upside down, etc. So with directional paper, you want to be mindful that you're cutting it the way that you need. So I made sure to put length and width on here specifically for that reason. So for pattern paper 1, we need 4 pieces at 4 3/4 long and then 1 1/4 wide. So I need to cut it this way at my 4 3/4 long. So this is going to be turned this way. So this is our lengthwise. So 4 3/4 is right here. All right, so there's our 4 3/4. So now I can take it. Actually, I like cutting from the top down, so I'm going to move my little piece here and cut. All right, so now we've got one piece we can hang on to and just move to the side. And this is going to be the piece that we now take and cut 4 1 1/4 inch pieces. So our 1 1/4, I'm just going to cut it from this side over here. So here's 1 1/4 there. You see, there's our first one. 1 1/4 here. Oh, that's a little too short, too long. Okay, there we go. All right, 1 1/4. So we're cutting this one. There's our second piece. We need another 1 1/4. We're going to have just a tiny little bit left over. I kind of feel sad hacksawing these cameras, but it's going to look really cute in the end. So it's all good. It's all good. All right, now this one, I'm just going to cut off this tiny little extra piece, which, you know what? I can still probably use that for something. But here we go with our 4 pieces, our 4 little camera pieces here. So those are all the same size at 4 3/4 by 1 1/4. And now I'll take my other pattern paper, so pattern paper 2. I need 1 piece at 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. It's going to be this size. Now, I should say it's going to be this size. This is the inside piece. So, and the reason I wanted to do the kind of the busy patterns here and then a more solid, solemn, quiet, toned down, muted, however you want to call it. I guess I'm a thesaurus today. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was all about. I do love words though. So here I'm going to use this pattern because I like that this has a quieter background so that the centerpiece can really stand out. That's my goal here. All right, so the one thing I needed to be mindful of, however, is I still want to use this bottom piece for another card. So what I am actually going to do is try to cut what I need from this top part. So I need my one piece at 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. So I am going to cut 3 3/4 this way. And that means I'm going to cut off 3 3/4 inches of this top part. So there's 3, there's 3.5, 3 3/4. All right. So I'll move my little slider back up there, slide it down, and I'm going to have 3 3/4. There we go. Perfect. So now I can still, I preserved my little flowers over here and I can save these for another card. Speaking of, I am going to have a video posted very soon, an edited video where I'm not rambling, where I show how I made this card here. And I'm also going to show inspiration for several other Simon Says Stamp card kit cards from the Love Story card kit that just came out. I really found this card kit inspirational, so I'm excited to make some more cards. All right, so again, one piece 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. So this is our 3 3/4. We got that. So now we need 4 3/4. So we're going to go, there's our 4-inch mark, 4.5, 4 3/4. I like to kind of mark my 1/4 inches as I go just to make sure that I am saying the right thing and cutting in the right spot. All right, so I got another extra little strip. We card makers know we hang on to these strips, right? Because you never know when it's going to come in handy. All right, so now I've got this piece as well. So I think I can I, oh, nope, I can't stop yet. So I already did cut down my spanner strip here, which again, you probably can't see very well. I don't know if you can see it a little better that way. It's my acetate strip. There we go. So this, my acetate strip here is going to be my spanner strip, and this is cut at it's a 1 1/4 inch long. So it's this way technically. No, wait, I completely said that backwards. It's going to be cut this way technically, but it doesn't really matter. It's going to go across the card like this. So, but it's 6 inches wide and it's 1 1/4 inch long. So that's already cut there for us. So the only other thing I need now is my white cardstock. Now I'm going to turn around and grab that. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. So I've got just a piece of little kind of flimsy cardstock here, but I need to cut it at 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. And if you notice, it's the exact same dimensions as this pattern paper that we just cut. So it is going to be the interior of the card. Just to show you, it's this piece here so that you have a place to write. That's where that's going to go. All right, so 4 3/4. So again, there's our 4-inch mark, 4.5, and here is 4 3/4. All right, so 4 3/4 right there. Cut this down this way. All right, I can move the other piece to the side. Oops, sorry, I just hit my camera. Apologies. Hope I didn't make anybody seasick with that. 4 3/4, and then 3 3/4. So there's 3, 3.5, 3 3/4. All right, so this is going to be the interior of the card where we can write our sweet little message. Okay, I hope we're done with this little friend right here. I am making all kinds of noise. All right, but we're 19 minutes in. I'm trying to keep this short, so short as I can for a live video. All right, so let's bring our card base back in with our beautiful little little slice right there. You see how I did that? I don't know if you could see it earlier. See a little tiny cut in there? Oh, goodness. You know what? It happens. It's all right. So now what I want to do is see how I feel about these little strips and where do I want to put them. And what I'm considering is which ones will look the best color-wise with my centerpiece. So that's what I'm particularly interested in, is trying to make sure that the color story on the front looks really good. It's going to match on the inside regardless, but I really want it to look nice on the front since that's going to be the focal piece. Oh, and apparently my little strip here doesn't get cut or doesn't get covered, but yeah, it's all right. We're going to go with it. All right, so my camera that I have on the front here is pink, and it's got a lot of the green florals in it. So I definitely want to make sure I've got some pinks and greens showing. So I like that this strip has the green camera there, and I like that this one has two pinks here. So I think, well, this one's got the pink too, but I like that this one has like the full camera and the full camera here. So I think I'm going to use this one, and then which one do I like for the green? You know what? I think I'm going to stick with this. Yeah, I think I like this. So I'm going to do these two right here. So what we're going to do basically is just glue them down. I can't talk today. I like to use the Barely Art Precision Craft Glue, and I have this adorable little glue stopper I bought from Crafty Critta, which is an Australian retailer. So I tend to kind of do this just to make sure if there's any glue stuck in there from the last time, I am kind of making it a little looser, and so it's not going to get stuck this time. Now, I, like Kathy Zilski likes to say, I too am an over-adheser, which basically means I like to put a lot of glue and a lot of adhesive material to keep my stuff together. I don't know why I do this. I'm trying to get better at it. So normally I would go back through and put dots everywhere and all the rest of that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make sure that my edges here are nice and secure. But I don't want to put too much glue because I really don't want it to be bumpy, you know, which can happen if your pattern paper is thinner. It can get a little bumpy. All right, so now I am just kind of eyeballing where this is going to go. And I think it's going to turn out pretty nice here. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. It looks pretty even all the way around. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. Now, part of the reason I like this Barely Art glue is because if you notice it kind of gooed out a little bit on the side here, but it will dry completely matte and clear or invisible, basically. So you won't see it at all. I won't see it at all. I won't have to worry about it. Now, let me zoom in just a little bit, just in case I'm maybe a little too far out. I think that's as much as I can go. All right. So there's the one part. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue down my other piece over here. Well, you know what? I'm thinking maybe I'll glue this down first, and that way I can kind of eyeball where this goes based on the edge. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so this is our middle piece here. Oh my goodness, I did it. I did it backwards. What was I thinking? Okay, so before this gets stuck down too much, let's peel it right back up. Oh goodness, I made a boo-boo, and I will explain why. So if you notice, oh gosh, come on. It'll be fine. I'll glue it right back down. It won't be any big deal. So on this card here, this is what I forgot. My acetate strip here is actually glued or taped behind my pattern paper strips. So I put the strip down first, and then I put the pattern paper over it to kind of help hold it in place. So that was my mistake here. I forgot to get my acetate secured before I put my pattern paper over it. Whoops. Oh, I tell you what, it's going to be a day already, I can tell. All right, so let's go ahead and get that acetate down so that I don't do this again. All right, so here's our little piece of tape. So I'm just going to put some tape here on either end of this acetate strip. And the acetate I kind of have going across I have it going across the card here, but it's 1 inch shorter than the card width itself. So it's almost that width across, but it's 1 inch shorter. All right, so let's take off our little strips here, the backing strips. Now, oh gosh, I have a hard time pulling these out sometimes. There we go. There's one side. Okay, so what I like to do is actually use my Simon Says Stamp T-square ruler, if I can find it. I thought it was right here. It was, oh, here it is. Okay. I knew it was around here somewhere. So I like to use this to help me make sure that I am midway down this card here. So I am eyeballing it for the most part because it's okay if it's not exactly in the middle, but I just want to make sure that it is straight at least. So even if it's not in the middle, having this edge on it over here gets it to the edge of the card and helps me make sure that anything that's along this line or this edge here is going to be straight. So I can move this down a little bit and then I'm going to secure it. Does that look about halfway? I think I can go a little bit further down. A little bit further down. There we go. I think that looks about centered. I think that's pretty good. All right. And you notice I am going to the center roughly of both sides here. So I can press this side down, then I can come over here and try again to pull up the backing. Hey, there we go. Look at that. That was way easier that time. And now I can come across, just making sure that's nice and flat. And there we go. Secured on both sides, flat, straight, all the way across. Okay, take two. Shall we try this again? How about first, before I even do that, I am going to put down our green piece here, which I just, oh, here it is. I put it upside down. Okay, so I'm going to secure this down before I do the other two, just because I like to work from the middle out, and that's something else I kind of mistakenly forgot to do. All right, so while I'm gluing this up, let me talk to you about craft roulette. So I have found craft roulette about, this is going to be my 39th submission. So I've been doing craft roulette for 39 weeks. There you go. So it is a shining light in my life. It's more than a community. It's a culture of like-minded individuals who are kind and caring and inspirational and supportive and just so positive and uplifting. And it is all reflective of the person who started this all, which is Miss Mary Gunn herself, Mary Gunn Fun. She is just a phenomenal human being. And I'm so lucky to know her and to have her in my life and to be a part of this beautiful culture that she started. So if you need some happy inspiration, some card making, some just beautiful people in your life, please check out Craft Roulette. It is wonderful. It's such a beautiful, beautiful place to spend your time. And I will sing its praises forever because it has brought me so much joy. And, my whole philosophy as a card maker is I just want to make people smile. And if there's a place online that embodies that concept, it is absolutely Craft Roulette. It is the place where you will smile nonstop because the people are so wonderful and the inspiration is just so real. It's just wonderful. The place it's an online community full of just wonderful, wonderful people. So yes, maybe I sound like an infomercial, but it really is that great. Okay, so back to our card. I feel like I don't know if I maybe cut it just a tiny bit wonky here, but it's a little bit off kilter. And it's straight along here. So I think I maybe did cut it just a hair off. Well, you know what? It happens. It's not the end of the world. You can see it, I'm sure, here too. It's just a little bit off, but I think it's straight along the bottom. So, well, it happens. You know what? I am not going to cry about it. So there we go. All right. So now I can go back to replacing this poor little strip that I have sadly mutilated. So now I'm probably going to put some more glue on it because I did this. So I guess in this case, being an over-adheser is probably necessary. Oh, goodness. You know what? It happens. It happens. It's all part of the process. Goodness knows I make mistakes when I craft all the time. All the time. But I will tell you, I don't necessarily refer to them as mistakes. They are authenticity marks. And that is because this is handmade, not Hallmark. That's what my friends say. So they are absolutely right. This is handmade, not Hallmark. There's going to be moments where it looks like this, but it's all good. All right. So I am just very carefully placing it right back down, trying to get it right the first time on here because I don't want to move it around too much. I don't want to wiggle it too much, considering I've already pulled it up once. But you know what? I think that's actually pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. I'm okay with this. And I put just enough glue to get it to stay back down. All right. Yeah, I can't be mad about that. Okay, so now let's put the other side down. That's the side over here. So the right side of our card, we now have the outside strips almost done. Then we can add the interior strips. And the reason we do that is because we want it to still look nice on the inside. You know, we want somebody to open the card and have a little bit of visual interest, a little bit of fun with the inside, and still get excited as they open this. All right, so let's see if I can get this one on the first try. All right, come on, wiggle you into place. This is why I really like the Barely Art glue too, not just because of it drying clear the way it does, which is phenomenal, but also because using liquid glue in some cases will really help give you just a moment or two of wiggle time. So if you're not confident about where you set it down that first time, it's okay. It will absolutely be okay. All right, how are we doing on time? Half an hour. Okay. So let's get our interior strips adhered because our outside is done. So now, oh, I didn't even realize I took I took the strips that were right next to each other. So we're gonna go ahead and cut them apart. Or we're not gonna cut them, we already did. We're gonna set them apart, but that's kind of a funny visual that they belong together. Huh. Oh, that's funny. Okay. So let's go ahead and put some glue on here. I'm gonna glue this down. So what kind of glue do you like? Are you a liquid glue person? Are you a double-sided tape person? I like it all, but as far as glue, which crafters can certainly get into long discussions and debates about which is our favorite liquid glue, but I'm definitely a Barely Art glue girl. I really, really love Barely Art glue. Okay, and I've used several different kinds, but this just works best for me. All right, so you notice I'm keeping my center piece down, and that's because if I lift it, I don't know that I'll have as good of a visual as to where this strip should be placed. So I am keeping it down here in the center so that I can have the visual of my length. And if you are just joining me, hello, this is my first ever live. So I am going just to make my spanner card here for Craft Roulette. Welcome. I am newish to YouTube, but I really enjoy card making. I think it is just such a fun time, such a good thing to do. And it's really just, brings so much joy. And to the people who receive the cards as well as to me, because I just love making people smile. I really do. And I love making people laugh because I love to laugh. So I love puns. Those of you who know me could probably groan from here until eternity at the ridiculousness of my puns. But they're so much fun, so much fun. So when people say, what kind of crafter are you, or what kind of card maker are you, are you clean and simple? Are you, different styles like that? Are you like a watercolor artist, things like that? I like to say I'm a punny crafter. I like puns. That's really what it is. I just like puns. All right, so check it out. Not too shabby, right? We've got our outside base done. We've got our centerpiece here, and we've got our sides. Now we can just adhere I'm losing my sentiment over here. We can just adhere the white piece that will be where we write. Now this one, I won't be putting as much glue on this just because I kind of like it when the interior of the card has kind of a loose strip to it. I don't know what it is about it, but it makes it feel more natural to me that the inside, kind of like because if you're writing somebody a handwritten letter, it's going to be loose, right? You're going to have to open it. It's a piece of paper, etc. So I kind of like when it's got like the edges curled up a little bit and things like that, just because it feels handmade. It feels hand done. So I really enjoy that. Okay, so there's our inside. There is our center piece, and here is our top. All right, now I have made a couple mistakes along the way, as you've noticed. There's my little slice over here. I had to redo this part, but you know what? All in all, I think it's looking pretty great. So now we can move on to our centerpiece. So I am basically going to put this right in the center. You don't have to put your centerpiece here, by the way. This spanner strip, you can put it across the bottom here, which would be really cool. It would give it like a U shape here. You can put it wherever you want, really. The idea is just that you have something connecting the sides so that you can lift it and then get to the interior of the card. That's how that works. Okay, so now I'm going to use just one piece of double-sided tape to adhere it to my acetate. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want it to get too messy looking underneath. So if you look at my first card that I made, you can see the acetate piece here, or I'm sorry, the acetate, the double-sided tape, you can see it right through the acetate. And if I had glue, I was concerned that it was just going to look like a kind of a globby mess when you open the card. This to me just looks neater. Now, granted, it's not as secure as it could have been because it's, it doesn't have that excess, but I ended up connecting other pieces to it that helped bolster that security. So it's actually connected in other points, even though it's technically only touching the acetate right here. So I'm going to do something very similar here. So I'm going to just put this, now I'm putting it on my acetate rather than on the piece itself because I can more easily see where this goes. I might mess up if I have it on my piece first. So I'm actually just going to set it here, right in the center. There we go. I'm going to pull up my, here we go again with trying to get, why do I try to use my nails for everything? Ugh, it's terrible. That's why my nails are so rough. Okay, so now you can see I've got that bit of tape in the center and I'm just eyeballing where this goes. Now, and I could put it sideways or, I don't know. Do we like that better? I feel like straight on might be better because these are all straight on. So I don't know. Do we want a little cockeyed? No, I think we're going to keep it straight. So I'm kind of eyeballing the distance from the top to the bottom, from the side to the side. And I think it's going to go right about here. There we go. I'm okay with this. I am definitely okay with this. Now you see how it is connected there. See? And it's just, oh, see, that was pretty dead center. There we go. Awesome. Okay, it worked. I love it when a plan comes together. I love it when things work the way that I intend for them to, even despite when I make a few mistakes along the way. All right, our spanner card is coming together. Now, I've got these little words here, which I could certainly put across. I could do something like that. I could put it right in the center if I want. But I think what I'm going to do is maybe cut them apart and do kind of like a trio where it says like, I don't know, smile, love, dream, or dream, something like that maybe. I get nervous when it comes to cutting words apart like this, but I like that idea. I like the idea of doing like a triple sentiment, if you will. So I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to bring in my little tiny Tim Holtz trimmer here. Isn't this the cutest thing? I just love this little thing. All right, so we're going to set that here for a moment off to the side, and we're going to cut, folks. We're going to cut. I'm a little scared, but if you notice, so there's these little dots in between. So I think I'm either going to, I either need to trim down the edges a little bit so that there's the same distance apart, because if I cut right in between there's going to be very little space between the D and the edge of the paper, because I think I have to cut out the little dots since we don't have dots on the other side. Or I leave the word love surrounded by the dots and I just separate the smile and the dream. I don't know. How do we feel about that? I'm nervous. Okay, I think I'm going to just trim this down a little bit, just a little bit, little tiny cuts. And I think I'm going to cut out the dots. Oof, I'm a little nervous about that, but I'm doing it. There, it's done. All right, there's word number one. I'm going to cut off this little dot here and cut the word love. Oh, I do get so nervous when I'm changing how a die cut looks when it's already, created in a particular fashion. But this is what creating is all about, right? You got to make it your own. You got to do what you want with it. You got to do what feels right to you. And for me, this is what feels right today. So, all right, we're going to cut this down as well. Okay. Oh, there we go. I was nervous, but I did it. So I really, really love when my sentiments connect very well with my imagery. So in this particular case, I've got the smile, which, matches the camera, right? Smile, and then love and dream. So smile, I think I'm going to put it maybe here, like smile, love, dream. Maybe something like that. I don't know. How do we feel about that? Smile, love, dream. So I'm kind of looking at it like, do we move it around? Do I do it this way maybe? Oh, maybe I kind of like this. So the smile is by the camera or closest to the camera, which makes sense. And then the inside, now this is where I'm going to bring in my other sentiment. So you see, collect moments, not things. I am going to put this on the green pattern paper back here behind the camera. So it's going to be hidden. Although, isn't that kind of neat how it also brings in the circle from the camera itself? So I really like to keep that cohesion. All right, so I think I'm going to do it like this. Normally I would have brought this over here, but I really like it here, I think. So I'm going to do smile, love, dream, and then on the inside, they're going to open it up and it's going to say collect moments, not things, which really just, it works. It works. I'm excited about that. Okay, I like it. I like it. So I think I'm going to bring in some foam squares. Those are also from Simon Says Stamp. Now, I don't want my sentiments to show on the backside of my, like when I open the card. So for example, I have foam squares. I don't know if you can quite see them from the side there, but you can see there's a little bit of lift. That's because I have foam squares behind these different elements and behind the sentiment as well. There you can see the squares now. So when I open it, you don't see them at all from this side. So I think what I want to do is use very, very thin foam squares on the sides here. Oh, I don't know. I'm worried I'm going to mess it up, but we're going to give it a shot, right? We're going to give it a shot. Okay, so I am going to use these ones, I think. Well, these are a thinner loft. These are thin foam squares compared to these, which are thicker. But I kind of want the sentiments to pop up more. And then if I want to add anything to it, I can add it underneath. Okay, so here's my thought. I'm going to walk through my thought process with you. I have these little hearts over here, which also came with the ephemera pack. And I also have these little butterflies, which there's a butterfly here and a butterfly here. So it wouldn't be out of left field to add a few butterflies. So what if I were to add some butterflies in first, and then I could put the sentiments on top of those even? What do we think about that? Could that work? Could that be a thing? Well, maybe not. Oh gosh, I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm struggling here. What do I want to do? Maybe instead of a butterfly, do I want to do these little hearts? Because there are hearts everywhere. So maybe I can add a little heart to it. I'm not sure. What do we like? What do we want to do? All right, you know what? I think I'm going to leave the butterflies off. Oh, I kind of liked it. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it off. Or do I just add one butterfly? Maybe just the one? Maybe the green one, so it picks up the paper from the back. And it gives a little bit more, because love is our smallest word. So I'm worried about it not having enough stability or enough space to be able to connect. So I wonder, okay, maybe not the green. That's a little too much green. Maybe we do the yellow with the pink. And if I connect this here, then maybe we can just put the word love like that. I don't know. How do we feel about that? Am I forcing it? I feel like I might be forcing it. What if the butterfly comes down a bit? Oh, well, I don't know. I'm so torn. Do I like this? Do I not? Oh, don't we always just second guess ourselves? I don't know what it is about that, but man, we really do. We second guess ourselves all the time. All right, you know what? I'm gonna roll with it. And we're just gonna see how this goes. Oh, wait a minute. What if I go further up? Oh, how about that? What if I do love, smile, dream and do it this way instead of bringing that down to the acetate strip? What if I actually have it up further and then this comes down more? And I still have that kind of off balance look, I guess. It's still kind of going like this. Huh. Because I really like it when I can break the line of something. So I definitely want to keep these I don't want them to be even. So I really like that they are a little off like that. I think that could work. And that gives it a little bit more stability because it can touch the flower there. Okay, I think we're going with it. We're gonna roll on in here. We're gonna make this a thing. Okay, so now the question is, do I use foam squares or do I use just glue and make them flat? I think, you know what? I think I'm going to do the foam squares, although those are little. You know what? Actually, I'm going to get foam tape instead. I'm going to get some of my Altenew foam tape here. Isn't that pretty with the way that looks? Oh, they all have this floral pattern. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to cut some of this off. And I'm going to basically cut little strips here. I'm going to start on this side. So I'm going to cut these little strips. And that's where I'm going to adhere on the very edges over here. So there's on the edge on this side. And I think I need an even smaller piece. Oh yeah, I'm starting to like that. Okay. So that is good there. I think I need an even smaller piece, or I should say a more narrow piece even on the other side. So I'm going to cut that here. Oh, well, my goodness, that just went flying. Come on. Come on, little buddy. I saw you going for a ride. You're going to have to come out. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to use this on the other side. Okay. All the way over here, I think. Is that, nope, there we go. Yeah, okay. All right, we can work with this. I like it. I like it. Okay, I'm starting to feel better about this now. So here we go with our little love, smile, dream. I like this working like this. Okay, so let's see here if I can do the other side. Now, and the reason I kind of wanted to do this is because spanner cards seem to inspire the fear of God in people because they just aren't something we talk about very often when it comes to card making, or at least some people don't, but it's considered what we call a fun fold because it's fun and it folds. Very creative, right? Fun fold. So I am going to put this one here. Oh, wait, where do we want this one? Yeah, we want it down here. Okay, so we got that piece there. Now I'm going to need another thin little piece on this side. All right, so fun fold, meaning that it is not your traditional, top or side fold that just opens in one direction. It's got some interest to it in that it folds in a different kind of way. All right, so we are at 48 minutes right now, so I am about to wrap this up. We're almost done here. Okay, so there is my smile part. Now here's the dream. This one, I can do a nice thicker strip because it is mostly going to connect with the actual little backer over here. So I think we're good to connect this one. Oh gosh, come on. All right, so I can stick that here. Oh, a little bit down. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on, little friend. There we go. Okay, so now I think that can go there. Maybe we can, we might need to add a little bit more. But in general, if I can hold these three in place and kind of, oh, well, that didn't work out. That did not pan out quite as planned. Okay, so I think I'm just going to go, you know what? I'm going to go for gold. I'm just going to stick them down and see what happens. We are just going to hope that it works as planned. All right, so I'm going to add another little piece to this one, but I'm going to leave part of it off because it does stick over the side just a hair. All right. So here we go with these. So wish me luck. I'm going for gold without even checking. I like to go with the philosophy of the measure twice, cut once type idea where, I would have checked this first. Oh, come on. I would have checked this first to see if it would work, but we're just going to roll with it. I'm a little scared, but you know what? It's going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine because we are trying to move this along. All right. So where are my scissors? Or not my scissors. Here we go. My little tweezers. Okay. So I think this is going to look nice right about here. So it's going to stick off the edge just a hair, just a tiny little bit. And if you wonder why I put that liquid glue after I put the foam tape, it's because it gives me, again, that little bit of wiggle room. All right, there's one down. Now we've got the smile over here. Take off the tape. So when I put it down, if I am not confident about where I just set it down, I can then move it just a hair before it fully adheres. And that gives me, like I said, just that little bit of wiggle room. Okay, I think I'm going to put my smile right about, right about here, I think. I'm going to break the line of that camera just a smidge. All right. And I'm kind of lining it up with the acetate to make sure that it's nice and straight, and it sure does appear like it. Does it seem straight to everyone? I think it does. I think it does. All right. And just to say, if you are here and if you're new to my channel, if you're new to my live, guess what? I'm new to my live too. I've never done this before. But I really appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. And if you are interested in subscribing, I promise I have less rambly videos, and I'm just trying to get this going. I like teaching people things. I like showing and sharing. So that's going to be what this channel is about, showing and sharing. All right. So I think the love can go right about here. I think that could work. Yeah. Oh, gosh. I'm moving stuff around. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, that's a little crooked. Just a little hair crooked. Okay. Now, before I push down too hard, I'm going to flip it over. Oh, we did it. Look at that. We did it. You can't see the foam tape. Heck yeah. Oh, wonderful. Now I'm going to press down. Okay. That's the one I was really worried about because it's so little. Yay, done and done. Okay. So now we can just put on a few finishing touches, a couple of embellishments, and we can call it a day. So, all right, let's see. Do I put some of the hearts maybe in here? A couple extra little hearts tucked around. Maybe that one there. This little pinky, maybe. Maybe we do the little green one over here, possibly. Maybe not right there. Maybe right here. I don't know. We could, but we don't have to. All right, we'll come back to that. So I still have this sitting on my finger. I guess I could put that down, huh? There we go. Okay, so now we can take the inside sentiment here. And this one is very easy to place. Come on, I can't get it up. I can't get it off my glass board. Come on. Okay, so this is our interior sentiment, collect moments, not things, which of course you do with a camera, or you can do, I should say, with a camera. So I'm going to put my little bit of glue here. All right, just set that, make sure it's nice and adhered. And I'm going to set it into the center. And because our top part is nice and centered here, it's going to look great right in the middle, and we can just eyeball where it goes, and it should be just fine. So collect moments, not things. Now, before I push, yep, see, covers it up nicely. And I might slide it up just a hair. Still good? So yeah, plenty of clearance. Plenty of clearance. There we go. Oh, I love that. I love how the black looks with the base of the card itself. Awesome. I am really enjoying this. I'm telling you, spanner cards are just fun. they're different. There's just something really exciting about watching it kind of come together and seeing the mechanics of it. I feel like an engineer. I am a paper engineer. A paper roll engineer? Is that like structural? But I'm a paper roll engineer. Okay, so I think the last thing we're going to do, I don't think I'm going to go ahead, I don't think I'm going to add any of these little hearts in, but I will probably add, let's see, some of these Studio Katia pieces here. And I was going to pull out specifically the little light pinks and the light aqua colored ones. And I've got here my Simon Says Stamp little sticker, not sticker, I can't remember what this is called. It's got the little wax tip on it though, so you can put stuff onto, like pick up gems and things like that. All right, so I'm gonna, do I like the light pinks and the aquas? I think I do. Oh, I like this one. Wait, which one do I like better? Those are definitely two different kind of pinks. Maybe that's like a more of a peachy color, isn't it? Which that one, yeah, the peachy one, peachy pink looks better, I think, than that pink. Does it blend in too much though? Okay, hold tight, because here's a thought. Instead of those, what if I were to use some black enamel dots? I've got some Concord 9th dots here. Would the black be too much? Is it too much there? I also have some silver pearls, but I'm not sure. My first instinct was to go with the sequins. We're going to stick with it. So I think we're going to go ahead and use these turquoise sequins, and maybe more turquoise than we would the peach, just because the peach blends in almost so well that it kind of gets a little bit lost. But yeah, I think, and I'm sorry if you can hear the water in the background. It's my husband. Let's see here. Is this a turquoise? Yeah, it is. Okay. All right. So I like to do odd numbers of things, which is why you see, three sentiments here and like 3 sequins and things like that. So I think I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I like to do kind of a diagonal approach. I like to go diagonally across a card. So I might do one maybe over here, something like that. And then, I don't know, this one's, I want the colors to be contrasting a bit so that, I've got the peachy one on the turquoise background and so on and so forth. So there's that, maybe I'll do it this way. Okay, I could work with this. So I put that one breaking the line of the green leaf, and there's a little one. So I like to do a large one next to a little one. We're going to put these back. I want to do 5 of these. I think 5 of these. So there's 1, 2, maybe I do 3, 4. I have the hardest time placing sequins. I don't know about you, but there's something about embellishments that it's just challenging for me. And I don't know if it's that I just feel like I'm going to get it wrong, although there really is no wrong in card making or in crafting in general. There's just doing what you feel. But I still worry that I'm going to get it wrong. So I try not to think like that, and I try not to be so hard on myself, but we all do it at different times, don't we? We're all our own worst critics over here. Okay. So, what? Maybe I just don't want this large one. Maybe that's what's kind of holding me back. What if I do this? Oh, geez. Okay, did you see that? I'm like a baton twirler now. Huh. Let's put that there. And they all flipped over. Oh, and this unscrewed. There we go. Okay. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it kind of carries the sequins all the way up. You know what? We're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. That's the theme of the day. We are rolling with it. We're just about at an hour here, and we are just about done. So let me get this little piece on here. There's 1. There's 2. There's numero 3. And here is number 4. I almost went from 3 to 5 because apparently I don't know how to count. There is the fifth one. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. We're good, everybody. We have done it. This is our spanner card, and I did it in 1 hour. So thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that you enjoyed learning how to make a spanner card. I hope it has demystified the process for you just a little bit so that you feel more comfortable doing projects like this. So again, here's our spanner. We've got the acetate across the center. We've got our centerpiece here. Then we've got another greeting behind the centerpiece, so like a little hidden greeting there. And we've got a place to write our special message. There it is, everybody. Spanner card done. First live done. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe I have done a live video. All right, so here are the two spanner cards that I made. I hope you like them both. Here one more time, in case you need it, are the dimensions for an A2 and an A7 spanner card. There, maybe I'll just do it this way. There we go. Now we got them both in shot. So A2 and A7, meaning a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 and a 5 by 7 card. So here you go. That is it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you happen to do this on the rewatch, I appreciate you coming back and watching. And please leave me any feedback, any comments, any constructive criticism. I'm open to all of it because I am new to this process and I don't really know what I'm doing. So that's kind of my standard in life. I just don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to give it my all either way. All right. Well, thank you so much again for making a card with me today. I really hope this helped you, and I will see you whenever I do this again, or at least in the next video. Take care. Thanks a bunch. Bye. And I say bye, and I'm still here because I lost my computer mouse. Here we go. I'm batting 1,000. All right, so I don't know really how to end the stream, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I am going to count down from 10 just in case that helps, and this will stop somewhere in there. All right, have a wonderful day. Thank you again so much. I hope you grab some paper and craft something that really makes you smile. Take care. Bye. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,